Hi there, Eman here from Gadget Pilipinas. Today, we're going to do a full gaming review of the OPPO A83. At 9,990 pesos, the A83 is the most affordable smartphone from the brand to have a full-screen display and its signature AI beauty technology. So without further ado, let's dig into the rest of the specs. The OPPO A83 has a 5.7-inch HD Plus display and is powered by the MediaTek Helio P23 octa-core CPU clocked at 2.5 GHz, along with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of internal storage. In this review, we'll be testing the A83's performance in 6 games, which span different genres, from a third-person shooter, a racing game, a fighting game, and a MOBA. Using our handy heat gun, we'll occasionally check the changes in temperature to see how hot the device is when idle and on load. As you've noticed, the phone is also connected to a laptop. That's because we'll be using the Gamebench app to record variations in frame rate along with CPU and memory usage. At the end of this video, we'll talk about how the phone fared in each game. Let's fire up the first game, Rules of Survival. It's a popular third-person shooter that revolves around you and a bunch of other players killing each other off until only one is left. Before we start, let's take a look at my settings. So I have high FPS mode set to on, and my graphics profile is set to balanced. Now, let's play. I admit, I'm still getting used to the controls, so please pardon my lack of skills. In any case, the game plays well on the A83. Not buttery smooth, but enough. Movements are snappy, and there's very minimal input lag. You can probably play this on a higher setting if you want. That's if aesthetics is the one that matters to you. But of course, that would come at the cost of a few frames. Next up, we have Arena of Valor, also a popular game in the MOBA genre. The phone also plays this game with no major problems. There's a bit of lag when going through the menus, but the gameplay itself is very smooth. I also noticed that the device is already starting to get warm at the back. Now, let's try a racing game. Asphalt 8 to be exact. Before we go into our race, let's check the settings. And yes, it's maxed out. With that, let's race. As you can see, even at max settings, the game runs very smooth on the A83, even with all the weather effects and so on. Next up, we have NBA 2K17, probably one of the most demanding games out there. We'll be playing this one in medium settings. And as you can see, the game is playable even in medium settings. It's not the smoothest experience that you'll get, but you should be able to achieve close by turning off the crowd and sideline options, or going for a mix of low to medium settings. Now, let's try a newly released game, Tekken. It's actually one of my personal favorites. In this case, let's do Dojo mode. And now the game's loaded up. As you can see, the gameplay is very smooth on the A83, no lags whatsoever. It also probably has something to do with how optimized this game is. Last but not least, we have Shadowfied III, which was also one of the games that were requested on our Facebook page. The mechanics are somewhat similar to Mortal Kombat X, but in a more traditional setting. Like Tekken, this game also plays out very smooth. No lags, stutters of any sort. It's a fun game that's really good for a quick break from work. Now that we're done playing, let's talk about temperature. Based on our measurements, the device reached a peak of around 40 degrees Celsius, only at one point. The device did get warm, but not enough to say that it's uncomfortable. At this point, let me introduce you to Gamebench, the tool that we use to determine how the phone performed for each game. On the left are all the gaming sessions we did earlier, and on the right are the corresponding statistics for each game. We have here the median, which is the middle value of the highest and lowest frame rate that we got. Frame rate stability, which tells us the amount of time that the device was able to maintain a frame rate that's very close to the median. We also have CPU usage and how much memory was used up. For all the games except one, Tekken, the A83 was able to yield frame rates that are close to the median at least 80% of the time. The lowest median that we got was also Tekken, along with NBA 2K17, which was kind of expected. As far as memory is concerned, the maximum that the game was able to consume was around 25% of the phone's total memory. Anyway, here are the rest of the results. So does the OPPO A83 pass as a gaming device? I'd say yes. Based on our tests, it should be able to handle most games at decent frame rates at the very least. It will probably even handle some games at the highest setting with no major issues. Plus, the way it also manages thermals is good. So that's it for our gaming review of the OPPO A83. I hope you had fun watching, and please check out the rest of our full review on Gadget Pilipinas.